They're prospecting and recruiting to make money. They're prospecting or recruiting for their own promotion. They're prospecting or recruiting for a leader's bulletin. And they're not prospecting to give. They are prospecting to get. And then they wonder why they put off this bad vibe. Whatever you need to do to get into a selfless state of mind, do that so that way the energy you put off is a positive one. Let's go. Today, I'm going to teach you how to become a master recruiter, a master prospector. And I'm going to give you tips on how to do this. And so before I go into it, I just want to give you a little bit of credibility with myself. I built one of the top financial agencies in the life insurance industry. I'm in the top 1% of 1% in the entire industry. And one of the things that I've been best at is recruiting. In fact, my organization recruits about 20,000 people every single year into it. And so this is a skill that I have. This is something that I'm good at. And this is something that I've had success teaching others to go be successful at as well. Because I get asked about this all the time from my organization, I just thought I would put out some content that could help other people on it as well. And so let's go over a couple of tips when it comes to becoming a prospecting master, a recruiting master. And so the first tip is don't give it away, take it away. Don't give it away, take it away. Oftentimes people are so desperate that they give away the opportunity. The problem is when you give away something, it loses value. When something is easy to get, it loses value. When people think that anybody can have it, it loses value. And let me give you an example here. Let me give you an analogy. Let's say that you went to take a shower this morning and diamonds were falling out of the faucet. Are you going to turn on the shower for a minute and a half to get hot like you did? No, you would be sitting there catching every last diamond. Why? Because there's value falling out of the faucet. The reason so many of us are willing to turn on the faucet and just let water run until it gets warm is because we know that there's an unlimited amount of water. And so because of this, we don't treat water with the same value that it deserves, even though we can't live without it. But if it was diamonds, we would be catching every last diamond. Why? Diamonds are hard to get. Water is easy to get. So the easier you make something to get, the less value it holds and the less credibility it has. So if you want to become an incredible prospector and or recruiter, we can't give things away. We need to take things away, make it feel as if not everybody could have it. So say things like, hey, listen, I'm not even sure if you would qualify to work with us. Listen, we're extremely busy and our calendar is full. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get you on the calendar this week. Let me see what I can do. Hey, if I put in a good word for you, do I have your commitment that you're gonna take it seriously? The reason it's so important is I've worked extremely hard to make a good impression with our firm, and I don't want to ruin that reputation because of a bad referral. So if I do refer you, do I have your commitment that you're going to take it seriously? These little things take it off the table where it still keeps you in a place of authority. It's still welcoming and friendly, but it's not putting you in a position where you look and or sound and or feel desperate, which is extremely important. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, you don't have to be the guy and you don't have to be the gal. What do I mean by this? What I mean is leverage, 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 leverage. Especially when you're coming up in any type of recruiting business, recruiting model, you acting as if you were the successful person already sometimes is a turnoff because people can see through it. They can read through it. You don't have the identity just yet. Maybe you don't have the professionalism just yet. Maybe you don't have the presence just yet. And so people doubt you because you are presenting yourself as the guy. And let me give you an example of this. When I was coming up in the business, when I was coming up in the financial industry, the one thing that's so powerful about our industry is that you could build something that you own. The problem is nobody believed me when I said I own a financial business or I run my own agency. And so I used to say things like that because it fed my ego. I would say things like, oh, I have my own financial agency and I'm looking for good people. But I was 19 years old. I looked 12 and I had no background and or credibility. I didn't look and or come across as the type of guy that people would want to be led by in the beginning stages of me getting into the business. And so what I started realizing is that instead of trying to be the guy, I would leverage the guy. So I'd say things like, hey, listen, I work with a firm. I can make an introduction. There is a mentor that I have that's incredibly successful. Let me make an introduction. So what I got really good at is being the bridge between where somebody was and who they needed to meet. I was the bridge between where somebody was and the company they wanted to have access to. I wasn't trying to be the mentor. I wasn't trying to be this successful guru. I just was the messenger. I was the person that can make the introduction. I was the relationship. And when I did this and I put down my ego, my results went through the roof, my success went up, and I started to get a lot more results when it came to prospecting and recruiting. Tip number 3, positive energy. Positive energy, positive energy, positive energy. Where does positive energy come from? Positive energy comes from good intentions, meaning that if my intentions are pure and I genuinely just want to make a difference, I genuinely just want to help you, I genuinely just want to help you get to the next level in your life and or give you an opportunity, now all of a sudden I put off a better vibe, a more welcoming vibe, and that leads to better success in business, prospecting, the whole 9 yards. And let me explain. Have you ever met somebody, after meeting them, you thought to yourself, I don't know what it was, I just didn't like that person. Do you know why you felt that? Because you picked up on their thoughts. See, the way that our anatomy works, the way that we work is that every time you think a thought, that thought sends a vibration through your body and that vibration puts off a frequency. And so the reason you had a negative feeling about somebody is because they were thinking a thought, that thought was putting off negative vibrations, you were picking up on that frequency and you had this gut feeling that something wasn't right. Well, when something is right, people pick up on that same frequency. So when you have selfless thoughts, you have good intentions, you send positive vibrations now through your body, you put off a positive frequency, and now people say, you know what? I don't know what it was. I just really like that person. Or I don't know what it was. I just really trust that person. You're putting off a good frequency, which then builds trust and allows you to establish a stronger relationship. And it makes it that much easier to get a result when prospecting. Here's the thing. Most people do not operate with those intentions. Why? They're recruiting for selfish gain. They're prospecting for selfish gain. They're prospecting and recruiting to make money. They're prospecting or recruiting for their own promotion. They're prospecting or recruiting for a leader's bulletin. And they're not prospecting to give. They are prospecting to get. And then they wonder why they put off this bad vibe. I want to challenge you. If you were ever in a position where you're about to prospect, maybe pray for selfless intentions. Whatever you need to do to get into a selfless state of mind, do that so that way the energy you put off is a positive one. And then last but not least, 4th tip that I want to give you is what to do and actually what to say. This is a script that has worked so well for me throughout my career. And the reason it's worked so well is because it's very direct. I don't have to go build a fake rapport. I don't have to pretend to have a relationship or have fake conversations. If I can compliment you, I can get your number. If I can compliment you, I can prospect you. And so let me give you an example. I have a gentleman by the name of Jack in our organization. Jack is an awesome guy, makes a couple $100,000 a year with us right now and growing. And I met Jack years ago. He was my server. He was my server at a restaurant. And for me, my philosophy has always been, I'm going to turn every dollar spent into a dollar invested. Meaning that I'm going to prospect wherever I spend money, I'm going to prospect the person that I give my money to. And so we go into this restaurant and we're sitting down, and we sit down in a certain location, and the waitress comes out, and before they brought us water or any of those things, she comes out and piercings all over, hair's colored. And for me, I don't want to have to change somebody into something that they're not. And it's not that she was a bad person in any way, but from a sense of professionalism and me being in the financial industry, that wasn't going to work. And so I said, excuse me, miss, it's a little bit cold out here. Is there any way we can move inside? And obviously, as somebody who worked in a restaurant years ago, when they move tables, you also change servers. And so we sit down, and a guy by the name of Jack came up to our table. Incredible service, was just absolutely phenomenal. And I treated him with respect the entire time. I was positive the entire time. And then at the end of dinner, I walked up to Jack. I said, excuse me, Jack. He goes, yeah. I said, brother, this is going to sound so strange. And I don't mean to sound strange, but your service today was unbelievable. And our firm is expanding a ton right now, looking for really good people. And if you brought the quality of service that you gave us tonight to our industry, you could do incredibly well for yourself financially. Obviously I can't guarantee anything, but we're expanding and we're looking for good people. Do you happen to have a business card on you, brother? I would love to get you in contact with our expansion department. And he goes, you know what? I actually do have a business card, because he was also in real estate. I said, perfect. Give me your business card. I'll speak to our expansion department. And if they are willing to give you a call, I'll reach out to you first and let you know. How does that sound? He said, sounds fair. He gave me his business card. 2 days later, I reached out to him, set up a time to meet with him, and I brought him into our business. He's now making a couple $100,000 a year with us. Let me give you another example. When I was buying my truck, I remember buying my Ford Raptor, and there was a gentleman by the name of Chris Knott who's about to cross $500,000 in income in my organization. He sells me his Ford Raptor, and after selling me his Ford Raptor, I said, Chris, brother. He goes, yeah. I said, man, this is going to sound so strange, and I don't mean to sound strange at all, but the level of business acumen that you have and the entrepreneurial understanding that you have, is pretty incredible. And our firm is expanding a ton right now, looking for good people with an entrepreneurial background, business acumen. And if you brought that level of understanding to our industry, you could do incredibly well for yourself financially. Obviously I can't guarantee anything, but I would love to get you in contact with our expansion department to see if it would be a good fit. Do you happen to have a business card on you, brother? And he goes, no, I don't. I said, hey, no big deal. Write down your contact information. I'll speak to our expansion department. And if they're willing to give you a call, I'll reach out to you first and let you know. How does that sound? He goes, sounds great. So I got his number, met with him a couple of days later, boom. He's now about to cross $500,000 a year right now in our organization. So why do I tell you this? I tell you this because if I can compliment you, I can get your name and number. It doesn't matter what the scenario is. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. If I can compliment you, I can prospect you. So one of the things that I've trained my mind to do is look for the good in people. If I see you working hard, if I see a random act of kindness, I don't need to come up and spend 5 minutes having a conversation with you. I can come up, compliment you, be direct, get your name and number, call you a couple of days later, and boom, bring you into my organization. You get really, really good at this, you become a master at prospecting and recruiting. One of the reasons the script says this might sound strange, and I don't mean to sound strange, is because number one, they think it's strange. Number two, I always felt strange doing it, even to this day. And so it overcomes it for them. It also overcomes it for me. What I also do is compliment them. Everybody likes feeling complimented, so they feel better about themselves. But then at the end, I take it away. Hey, listen, I'm not sure if it would be a good fit. I'm not even sure if they'd be willing to meet with you, but I would love to get you in contact with our expansion department. And so it's a takeaway that takes away the desperation breath and makes it seem as if I'm still in a place of authority, because I am. It puts me in a place of authority, which is what I should say. So it puts me in a place of authority and allows me to have more results and better success. And so guys, these are 4 tips to become a better prospector, better recruiter. I built my career on this. I built our organization on this. I have almost 10,000 licensed agents in my agency, and it all stemmed from me mastering this little skill. And then it compounded, and boom, now we're having the results in the industry that we're having. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you're in a recruiting business, these methods could help you, and I hope they do. And so with that being said, guys, if you learned something from today's message, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend about it. As you know, we put out all this information for free. All we ask is that if you ever learn, you tell somebody about it. Thank you guys. God bless you. And we'll see you next week on the Leaders Only podcast.
Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.